Welcome everyone to the next episode of Impactables with Rishav. Today we have Dr. Aravind Chinchure, a good old friend and a mentor to me also. And it's pleasure hosting you today. Welcome Aravind.
Thank you, Rishav. Such a pleasure and honor to be part of this conversation with you. I know you as a young entrepreneur who is supporting and creating a whole ecosystem for entrepreneurs. So greatly admire your work.
Thank you so much. So I'll start with this. It's been 3 decades for you working across different industries, different domains. You are a PhD holder, then you shifted to corporate job, and you navigated your career from past 30 years in different segments, working with top companies also. So can you tell us how did this happen all throughout?
Rishav, when I started my career, I wanted to be a scientist, and that made me to do PhD in physics. And physics was my passion right from my early days of studies. Like any other student of physics, and after doing my research, I went to Netherlands for my postdoctoral work, and there my career peaked up. I was publishing in some of the best journals in the world, and something happens. Sometimes you never know how life takes its own turn. I received an email from General Electric, which we call GE, and GE was setting up an R&D center in Bangalore, and they were looking for scientists who are Indians but working in abroad.
And this was the year?
This was early 2000.
2000.
And look at my situation, Rishav. From Netherlands, I was supposed to go to Germany. My apartment was booked, and I was supposed to work at Max Planck Institute, which is one of the top premier, most sought after institute in the world. And it was just a week for us to move from Netherlands to Germany. And that was a big and most important journey and important milestone for me. A week before my relocation from Netherlands to Germany, I received an email from GE. And the email said, would you be interested if we offer a job
so
to
they
you?
Scouted you, or you?
Looks like they have scouted me.
Okay.
Because I had no clue. Otherwise, I would not have been planning my next career move to Germany. And I was, particularly when you are peaking in your research and working with some of the best minds in the world, because my professor was nominated to Nobel in Netherlands, and together my professor and I, we were planning to move to Germany to do something which we call it disruptive and breakthrough research in materials. But nature sometimes decides how you take next steps in life and in career. And when I received that email, my first impression was that I will not apply, or I will not say that I'm interested in this offer, because already my wife, my son, all of us were excited to go to Germany. But as a curious person, I just send a reply saying that I would like to talk. Let me understand what exactly is your center and kind of an offer that you are looking for. Believe me, Rishav, within couple of days, I had a conversation from leaders in India and also in US, and they immediately sent me an offer. Now I'm in a dilemma. Germany versus returning back to India.
So, but was that offer more lucrative in terms of position or terms of amount they were offering?
Of course, the salary was attractive, and
Okay.
it was a full-time job.
Okay.
And I was moving to Germany to do my another postdoctoral work. But my professor said that when I shared with him that I have received an offer from GE, and GE was a big global brand. GE was started by Edison, none other than Edison, whom all of us we admire. And I was just thinking possibly that the science that I'm doing here in Netherlands, and which I will extend it into translation research in Germany, possibly will have a new life, or maybe I will be able to explore the new dimension of science, that's technology. Because G being an industry, and this was the industrial research, so I thought, why not even look at, or one of the reasons, I think there were multiple reasons why I shifted. One is I really wanted to come back to India, that's number one, because I wanted to be with my family, with my parents and so on. The second one was, it was a permanent job, so-called. In the industry, of course, there is nothing like permanency, but still, it's a full-time job. Salary was attractive, and the brand G and the founder Edison really made me to take that decision. Of course, my professor was not very happy that I did this. In fact, he did say that, Aravind, if you are looking for a job, I will ensure that you will get a best job in India after this Max Planck work. But anyway, decision was made, and instead of relocating to Germany, I relocated to Bangalore.
Okay, so that Bangalore was the first base when you came.
Yes, it's the first base, and also first time I was starting my career not as a scientist or scientific staff or a professor, but as an individual contributor in industrial research. Now, Rishav, there is a big difference between the kind and the way we do the research in academia or academic research institution compared to industry. And to me, this was a, I think, big jump, big shift. And also, when I entered into GE, I need to do a lot of unlearning. And remember this, unlearning is the most important part of a career building. You have to keep unlearning as you move from one position to another position. You cannot remain in the same state of mind or same mindset and say that, okay, I will go there and I will continue to grow. So first year in industry in G, and that too, it's a global brand. And of course, G was such a company, Rishav, that many other companies were looking up to GE for their best practices in terms of a technology, innovation, leadership, research, and so on. And it was a great fun to transition from academic research to industry research, because you need to understand business, you need to understand customer, you need to understand technology or a science. Like, for example, it was a big shift. When I was in Netherlands, or most of my research in India and in Europe was at looking at materials or physics at extremely low temperature, which we call it cryogenic temperature, or minus, say, 273 degrees Celsius. But when I shifted to GE, I was supposed to work on a high temperature, which means that I had to move up and do my science and build the technology where the temperatures are 6 orders of magnitude compared to this. And this ability, to quickly adapt to what industry needs, what your organization needs. You cannot, and I have seen many, they say that, okay, my training is in this and I will restrict in the same
just
domain.
Like the same thing, people nowadays assume that what they have studied in engineering and they are gonna implement the same thing when they go to different company. But the company teaches them very separate thing what they want to get it done. So it's a similar kind of an example.
So second secret I will tell you, Rishav, is one is that I said, you need to adapt while you continue to build, while you have to unlearn. So some of the things that I knew and I was practicing as a scientist, I had to unlearn and quickly adapt to the, what industry needs, what business needs. And eventually, the third point that I want to share is that along with unlearning, adaptability, third most important thing that you need to learn as a professional working in the industry is the value that you are creating. That value creation is very, very important. And value creation is something so important in building the career, because you have to think consciously that you are getting paid and getting this entire infrastructure, connect, network and brand, unless you continue to create more and more value to the organization, you are not going to grow, you will get stuck. So the third principles here I'm talking about is unlearning, or continuously learn, depending upon the context, depending upon the industry, depending on the business. Quickly adapt, again, adapt and be courageous enough to say that I'm going to learn new thing. Does not matter whether it is part of my training or not part of training. And this is also an opportunity for us to learn and upgrade and continue the growth. And third most important part is value creation.
But in all these three, we'll break down this more. Like when you definitely you must have shifted to different companies over the years,
yes,
from 2000 till 2020, 25. So from GE to other company which you joined was?
So this is very interesting transition. Again, this is good for those who want to build a successful career. Now, the way I made a unusual decision to shift from science to technology, at that early 2000, in 2003, see, just imagine, Rishav, that I was in Whitefield, G as a global brand. Perhaps our campus was maybe 20, 30 acres, beautiful buildings, lake and all kinds of things, at restaurants and all kinds of things. And then I realized that I need to now learn and expand my horizon, or my understanding about other dimensions of technology, that is intellectual property. Now I had two options. I shift from a individual contributor and team leader as a material scientist to an intellectual property group, because this was the first time in India I saw that intellectual property or a patents started becoming more, I would say there was a good awareness, and we knew that this is going to be a future and high potential area. So I said, if I want to really learn intellectual property, I need to now make another jump and shift. Again, that requires courage. I decided to be part of a startup as a co-founding team.
Okay, so after GE you went to startup.
Startup.
Which year it was?
This was 2003, and this was just an accidental. Again, the fourth principle I'm going to share now is networking. So, because I was exploring intellectual property as a space in India, I was trying to connect to as many people as possible to learn and understand, what intellectual property is, what is its potential, what is its market, what exactly is being done by different law firms and so on. I don't know how, but I received an information from my friends that there is an entrepreneur in US who's looking to start a new venture or a new practice in Noida.
Okay.
And as a new venture, and he's looking for a co-founding team. So I got in touch with him, and I started talking to him, and he said, Aravind, give me some time because I'm yet to crystallize the plan. And after a few months, he sends me an email saying that, Aravind, now I'm prepared, I'm ready, and I want to start a team and a new vertical in intellectual property services. Would you be interested?
And this was the company name was?
The company name was Intellivate.
Intellivate.
And just imagine, such a beautiful life. My son was just about to go to school, and we had taken an admission in a new school.
In Bangalore?
In Bangalore. And this happens.
Again, you will go to Noida?
I went to Noida, Sector 2, in a small office, so from a big 30-acre campus to a small startup in a basement.
And that time Noida must be completely empty.
It's a very different, right? The world in, NCR as a Noida is a different world. And it was my choice. In fact, the leaders, my colleagues in G said, if you really want to, work in IP, why don't you work in IP group in G? And I think I was being groomed as a leader because I was given an opportunity to attend several training in GE. But that required a courage to uproot a family.
So but how this training happens? Like how do we realize that if I have joined some company as a junior level or a mid person in a company, I am being trained or I am being seeing this is a capable person who will be becoming a future leader of this particular department or this particular segment in our company. How does one realizes and how does you start feeling?
So one of the principles, Rishav, that I have been always following, that I follow even today, is always a look at what next. What is the next big thing that is going to happen in the industry, as a nation, and the world. So like the way I shifted from doing academic basic science, fundamental science to a technology and industry, I said at that time entrepreneurship was, because what I heard in entrepreneurship was the success of Mr. Narayan Murthy, Infosys, right? Beyond that, there were not many entrepreneurs what you see today. Hardly, there was a traction for startups. But I said, if I want to, explore that possibility of entrepreneurship while learning something new, right? So intellectual property was very new to me. I knew that IP has a great potential in India. This is going to be a future industry in India. So having that foresight, understanding and continuously upgrading ourselves to know where the world is heading, where industry is heading, where are those new shifts that are happening. So I knew that IP is going to be a very important sector or new industry which will evolve in India. So I decided to move. But look at my passion. So my passion was to read, and I have been a prolific reader. I learned that as a part of IP services, one aspect of that IP services is that you have to learn, read, and do certain analysis, which is called, we call it IP analytics. I said, you're getting paid to read, and day long you have to read inventions and analyze. I said, this is a great combination. But fundamentally, Rishav, for me, the attraction was that I wanted to grow. And for growth, you need to keep, learning new things which has a more relevance to the industry. So, that made me to take that bold, courageous decision. And in fact, my friend said, what is wrong with you? Why are you going to a startup to work in a sector 2 small office in the basement compared to GE as a brand? But believe me, that was one of the best decisions that I made in my life.
How long you worked over there?
So this was a startup, and we were 5 to begin with, and which quickly we expanded to 3 digits number, and then the company in Europe targeted us, and within 1.5 years we were acquired by CPA Global.
In 1.5 years?
1.5 years, because we grew so fast.
And then
we had amazing clients.
You guys worked over there also, like it was full acquisition or like how it was?
It was a full acquisition. And then you see, so when I joined Intelibate, I was again individual. Then I built teams. I used to train. In fact, I was taking care of a larger responsibility and more. And that was such an enriching experience, because being an entrepreneur, that in a small company, you cannot say that I will do only one. You have to do 10 things. And for me, this was like doing a MBA program.
And over there, you did anything apart from research then?
Correct. It's you have to do everything.
Correct.
You have to learn, because we hardly had any training. So you have to first learn, then create the systems and processes, then deliver what results client needs. And we had a top Fortune 500 companies and law firms as a part of a clientele. And then for this, you have to expand the team. Therefore, you have to spot the talent, train. I created my own methodology and curriculum to train, and then after training, give them a work and responsibilities, and that was part of a job. Whatever comes in, just take it, own it, lead it, and make it happen.
Understood. And can you quickly tell me that what all other companies you joined after this?
So after the company was acquired, then I generally, I felt that the new company, which is a European large company, has, their own priorities and so on. And I thought, why not I, do something after this. So then I received, I was talking to my friends, and some of my friends in Honeywell in Bangalore, they said, would you be interested? So again, network matters, that those connects matter. So then I got a job in Honeywell. Now look at how I was becoming more and more relevant and creating more and more value and taking larger and larger responsibilities, because I had a strong foundation in science and research. I had a strong foundation in developing technology and how to do technology development for a particular product in the company. And then I was part of a startup and taking care of multiple functions, but in intellectual property. So in Honeywell, I was working with global chief of IP council of a business, vice president of strategy, and chief technology officer. And this was an incredible experience there.
And this was year 2000?
This was 2005 to 2007.
After Honeywell?
After that, very interesting thing happened. Reliance Industries was establishing a very, very unique center, which is called Reliance Innovation Leadership Center. And this was led by a board member who is also Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar. So I had I would say it's a privilege and honor to be part of his team in Pune.
Then you shifted
doing
to Pune?
Innovation. I shifted to Pune.
2007?
2008.
After that, you stayed in Pune
So
only?
I stayed in Pune. I continued to stay in Pune, but I worked in Reliance for 6 years.
Okay, that was a bigger.
And it was incredible learning opportunity for me, because you are reporting to board and be part of a chairman's office. So I cannot tell you. This could be another episode, for us to have a conversation. How I was able to work with such a chairman of a company or a board member. And look at, very interestingly, so I started my career in the industry in 2000, and in 2008, I was a kind of a senior leader in a large company, reporting to the board of director and part of a chairman's office. And this is an incredible career growth. It's a dream growth, right? In 8 years, generally I have seen that you just move from an individual contributor to maybe a team lead or a manager, or maybe you're lucky than general manager, but this is. And what made that happen? It is just because, as I said, I continued to unlearn, learn, take those courageous decisions, move from one field to another field, and that added up in terms of value creation. I became a very unique professional, possibly in India, whom deep research, technology, startup entrepreneurship, intellectual property, and at that time I was looking at what next. The what next was innovation.
2013 must be, right?
Yes. So I started learning and contributing to innovation, and the best opportunity that I can get to actually apply that and continue to learn was in Reliance, because we were driving innovation.
After Reliance?
After Reliance, I took a decision, Rishav, at the age of 46, I said, now I need to explore other dimensions of life and career. So I decided to move out and become independent. So I worked in academia. I started India's first or launched India's first MBA program on innovation entrepreneurship with a unique design uh, in uh, in 2014 in Symbiosis Institute of Business Management in Pune. When we started, it was 40 seats, 80 students. The uniqueness, 40 students and 500 application. The uniqueness of the program is you don't get the placement, but you have to create new jobs. Because the program was innovation and entrepreneurship, more experiential, full-time residential. And today we have 80 students and 12,000 applications.
So that is still running.
It's still running and very, very successful. So that was one. Then I got into World Bank assignment. I did assignment to advise neighboring nations to build their capacity for science, technology, innovation, and intellectual property. Again, it's an international assignment. You are advising a country, not just a company. So then the success of this program led to World Bank imagine what could be the next. So then I was part of that committee to design a new program for a World Bank to look at larger mandate, kind of $1 billion plus investment. Then this was happening, then I slowly ventured into two other areas. One is the policy area. So I started writing policy papers for like Pune as a city to nation. Like one of my policy papers is how India can lead in the fourth industrial revolution. So I was actively involved in think tanks and so on. And the next is I was very passionate about social development. So I started volunteering in Deshpande Foundation, which led me to become a founding director of a Deshpande Startups. Then for some time I had to become a CEO also. Look at individual contributor to CEO journey. And while this was happening, I realized that as a nation we are highly vulnerable because in 2014 I realized that though we are in a fourth industrial revolution, but India does not have expertise in implementing fourth industrial revolution. So I started my own company called QLeap Academy, and I said I will bring the best cutting edge knowledge from around the world and evangelize and build that capacity. And I'm very happy to say that we had made a very big contribution for companies and also to policy dimension. So I continue to work with startups. I continue to work in academic institutions, social organizations. Then I went on to become board member, and then I continue to work in academic institutions. I created 7th program, which relates to innovation entrepreneurship at IISER Pune, and created my own methodology called Invent. While this is happening, Rishav, I realized that while I'm consulting large companies and mid-sized companies, while I'm into the academic space, because I'm also board member to some of the top institutions, academic institutions in India, I said, can I do something for CEOs? So I started a new practice of coaching CEOs, and I'm getting some very good results. So this is where I am today. I like traveling. I like exploring, and my quest now is how, as a humans, we need to flourish in the age of AI. So I felt during COVID lockdown, I should write a book. So I wrote a book called The New Age Organization, which covers 3 important parts. One is what are the disruptions and shifts that are happening in the world. Then if these are the disruptions that are happening, how as an organization you need to build the new age organization, which is agile, very responsive, and continues to innovate. And third, which is very, very important part, Rishav, is that about future skills for the leaders, or what are those 21st century skills that are needed in this in the fourth industrial revolution or in the age of AI. So these were the three fundamental things, and this book has been received very well. It's part of a reference book for some of the top universities in Europe, and there are certain courses that are being offered based on the body of knowledge of this particular book.
Interesting. Quite a journey in terms of all the things which you are doing currently and you have done in the past. But now, when we talk about any individual who started their career after 2015, because the taste of the environment kept on changing after this. We see consumer companies, fintech companies, Web3 companies, now AI companies. Now AI is automating so many things.
Absolutely.
Like when it comes to learning as an individual, if I am working in somewhere for say suppose 5-6 years, what's the risk and what's the challenges I might face in terms of that I might lose my job because AI will do that particular job in lesser time than what I am doing it.
There are many reports, Rishav, the impact of AI on jobs and employment, particularly those jobs which can be easily automated. So, or where human intervention is not needed or is minimal. But one thing is becoming very evident is the relevance of mid-level leadership. Because today what happens is that when you are individual contributor, you are more focused on delivering that task with efficiency, with that quality and so on. And then when you move up in the value chain, you cannot be just managing projects. So you need to learn new things so that you can continue to add one side to the team and other side is to the organization. So which means that slowly you need to shift towards more not just tactical way of running an organization or what is needed for the organization to strategically looking at the company and organization and consciously looking at those potential areas and opportunities that exist for the company to grow. So now what happens is if you are just managing people, managing projects, which can be automated. And youngsters, if they want to just do certain things like coding and programming, of course AI can do it better. So on one hand, and therefore, if you see globally right now, there is a recent report by I think Stanford which says that there is a 13% decline of decline for the jobs for freshers, while it is impacting mid managers because now there are many workflows, project management can be automated. So, and one big news, if I look at Indian perspective, is TCS laying off 12,000 employees.
In this 12,000, like how many were like approx might be mid-size kind of people?
What TCS is saying that those who are being laid off, they are mostly mid and some senior. So this out of 12,000 majority, that's what they don't give the percentage, but that's what the report says. And this is very scary, Rishav, because look at this, you joined a company, it's a different excitement. You started with a low salary, you were just delivering, but aspiration is to grow, and you reached that, and in that 4 or 5 years or 10 years, then you started thinking of buying, you get married, then you have children, then you buy a car and you buy an apartment in case.
But
and there's a whole debt.
In this one problem arises, like for you were not like you, every other person will not think that in 2 years or 3 years I can take this particular path and change my career path. With 99% or I would say 95% of Indians, the problem is if they are working in say suppose any MNC, joined as a fresher, if they see that my hike is happening 20%, 30%, they start being stable and being comfortable. So they reach to, in 5 to 10 years, they might reach to 20-25 lakh rupees kind of a salary.
Yes.
But now the risk taking capacity is completely gone.
Correct.
So in that particular situation, how me as an individual can keep myself relevant, because I am not learning anything additional what I am being learned in the
Correct.
neither I am learning AI tools, etc. How I can keep myself relevant so that even if this impact is coming of the automations in my life, I am being relevant. Even if I go to different company, I will get hired in a better salary.
Correct. So it's basically what you were saying is the skills that I had, and I'm having the same skills, but just because I have been in the organization for over 10 years, I'm being promoted.
Correct.
But that is actually setting ourselves for a failure. So as you grow, your skills have to grow. Now there are two ways to approach this. One is that I have a particular skill, I go deeper into that skill and become one of the best skilled person in the organization or in the industry or in the India or in the world. The other option is you need to keep learning new things. So you have to upgrade yourself, reskill, upskill. And if that doesn't happen, and then you become more comfortable and take the job for granted, you are highly vulnerable. So fundamentally, you need to look at consciously that you can't take job for granted.
But what shall I do? Like for example, I have been sitting in a company for 10 years. I've been the mid-size manager, mid-level manager, and now the impact is coming. I am seeing the impact, but I am sitting quietly. What shall I do?
So I have a framework which is called HIT framework.
Okay.
And that framework gives you a basis to expand your learning journey. The first thing that as you grow, you need to build human skills.
Okay.
The H stands for human skills. That's about your mindset, your ability to look at other dimension like along with IQ, whether you have EQ and so on. The next thing as a leader you need to build is the ability to remain always creative, innovative and entrepreneurial. These are the tools, these are practices that you need to continuously sharpen. First is learn these tools and continue to sharpen, and that will help you to innovate continuously, add more and more value in everything that you do and whatever organization needs. But the third most important is learn everything that's happening in the technology. I'm not saying you need to be an expert, but you should know enough so that you can have a conversation, or you can apply that, or you can ask your team to use that. For example, if AI is so important, I need to ensure that I learn almost everything about AI, which will help me to add more and more value as a team. So, or whether it's a fourth industrial revolution and so on. So these are very important things. The intersection of this, the human skills, the innovation and entrepreneurship skills, and the technological skill, that intersection is something which is a sweet spot. More and more people who enter into that spot will continue to grow. And you look at successful people like Satya Nadella or anybody, young leader, they have been able to do this.
So again, the very interesting question comes around from this particular perspective is, when the company in 2025 and onwards, when they start hiring, I'm talking about the big MNCs, group of companies or family offices, these businesses will either take the people who are already there in the organization who know the skills, but the maximum of the time might not be possible. They might find in people actually. So whom they will look upon, like people who have the experience in terms of leading the company or leading the team, building the processes and systems, or someone who is in this sweet spot of knowing the things that they've been updated in the market actually.
Correct.
So I have seen people who are like 20 years of experience, even they don't know anything as of today.
Correct.
They even don't know how to update their LinkedIn, for example. A simple example. It's not, again, from their perspective, for them, they think that it's not important.
Correct.
But in 2025, it is relevant.
Correct.
Lesser people ask for resume, more people ask for LinkedIn profile. So this is a change business, but the change adaptiveness was less. So me as a company, whom I will hire?
Yes. So true. I think you brought very, very important point. One is, upgrading individuals, upgrading myself to become more and more relevant and indispensable and adding more and more value, but also ensure that you are also visible. And you can also showcase to the world the kind of skills that you have developed, the kind of impact that you are going to make. And one platform that exists is LinkedIn. So how updated your LinkedIn is, how are you leveraging that platform, how you are communicating into the platform. I'm not saying that you should reveal the confidential information of the company, but wherever you are contributing generally, so you should be able to include in the LinkedIn so that you become visible. Like if something like TCS laying off happens, you are already relevant, visible, known, you are well networked, and you get the job. If you see my career, I never had to apply for a job. Of course, I go through the process because first conversation happens and then I go through the process. That's the ability that you should build as a part of this. The next thing, Rishav, is very important that you cannot always remain in your office or in your desk or your space. You need to get out of that space and meet people, build network, exchange ideas, share your ideas, because unless you give, people are not going to help you.
But these are not being done by the larger companies.
Most
people working in larger companies,
they are not doing.
Exactly.
And that's why they are vulnerable. They are highly vulnerable because when situation comes, so I know a lot of people contact me and say that I need a job, but they were not prepared
for the job.
The
new type of jobs,
unless and until company says that we don't need you. And that's a very risky proposition, and that's why I'm saying, when you are growing your family, your debt, you have debt, and you have a particular lifestyle, and possibly you don't have a job, it's a highly vulnerable. So therefore, I think one of the things, Rishav, you and me, you being an entrepreneur and young, you understand this, and with my experience, we should see what can be done for those who are still taking job and life for granted. Can we coach them? Can we bring, can we design and create a program for them so that they not only future-proof their career, but also they thrive, they grow, and continue to add value for the organization.
But as an individual, the problem lies like startup people, early stage startup founders or mid-sized senior people, they start interacting with more and more people in the market. But the jobs in startups are always lesser as compared to established companies. I believe 80%, 85 people are employed in India in MNCs and established companies only as of today. Startup employment ratio is 10-15% only. So, but all those people, still they have that mental stigma of being stuck into that particular cubicle zone and not get out of it. So what will make them come out? Like either it will be the situation happening all around in the market, people getting laid off, that it can be one, they start getting feared of. Second, they either see things if they want to get into those particular kind of a group, or third, upgrading themselves. So in these three, what do you feel is the most practical way for, because currently I am not able to relate much because it's been only 5-6 years for me.
Yes.
You having 30 years, what will make them come out when they are sitting in one place for 10 consecutive years? Now is the time, because 25 to 26, 27 is a transformation year for everyone.
Correct.
If you're not able to transform yourself during this time, it will become very difficult in the coming years.
I think one word, I'm picking up from what you said, is you have to continuously upgrade. Now that has become most important priority for every
exactly. It was
leader
not priority
it
was not priority 4 years before.
Correct. Because at that time, look at Rishav, that companies were growing. We needed more and more people. We needed more and more experienced people. But today is not the case,
Exactly.
right? One side, I'm not sure whether industry will continue to grow. Look at what is happening in geopolitical thing, while AI continues to disrupt the job market. So, so you have to upgrade, and I'm saying that you can upgrade in the areas which you really, really like to get upskilled, reskilled. Learn that. Learning is a continuous process. Even today, I learn every day, every day. So unless we learn and continue to learn, continue to upgrade, continue to think like a about the future, the kind of trends that exist, where we will see the future, which is going to have an impact on many other things. So having that foresight is equally important. While continue to upgrade, have this foresight, be willing to unlearn, adapt to the changing situation. I'm seeing one of my secret is that I used to anticipate the future.
But
Being
again,
a physicist,
exactly.
and many people are,
Not doing it.
not doing it.
Many, the majority are not doing it. The thing is, it's like current life of mine is Monday to Friday, it's done. So Saturday, Sunday doesn't means I will not do anything. But that mindset change is required.
Absolutely, and for that you need to create a time, because what happens is when you become mid and senior, you get more and more busy in the operations. You have to see how you can come out of those operations and create a space for you, space to think, space to learn, space to get out and see what's happening in the world. Sometimes you need to volunteer, sometimes you go and teach your craft to students. So you get a lot of energy and you are compelled. So there are so many ways by which you can upgrade yourself. And this is like you learn and apply that learning not only in your team and yourself, but also go out and see whether you can contribute to the in many other different ways, so that you can learn more.
Very interesting. So, what would be the one last piece of advice to, I will not say the founders or entrepreneurs, but this question will be changing this time. What will be the one piece of advice you're going to give to the people working in any mid-size position in any larger companies?
So I would say, if you are sleeping, wake up, boys. World has changed, life has changed, technology is coming, close doors, and if you don't wake up, then you have to be ready for consequences. While saying this, but look at Rishav, the other part of this, with AI, the kind of an experience and knowledge that exists, just, you have to be not only awake, but open, wide-eyed, and absorb the things, learn, and the future is really bright, because now with AI you can learn so much, any skill you can learn. So your productivity can go 5 times. My productivity has gone 4 or 5 times. So now leverage AI, and that augmenting AI in your life, you can create so much of value. So that opportunity also exists. But if you're sleeping, nobody can this thing.
Exactly.
But Rishav, let's do something. Let's do and see how we can shake and wake and give them knowledge, tools, insights, and practices and playbook, so that they continue to grow, because their growth is not only for their own families, but also for nation,
Yes,
for
and
society, for the next creation of new jobs and so on. But I'm optimistic.
Great. Thank you so much. This was amazing. Like, apart from speaking most of the time from the starter's perspective, this is another very big perspective which we need to understand, because it's a job creation kind of a thing. So with this, thank you so much, Aravind, for being
Thank
here,
you,
and
Rishav.
we're having this amazing conversation.
Yes. Amazing conversation, no preparation, and extemper. Excellent. Thank
Great.
you, Rishav.
Thank you so much.
Look forward.
With this, guys, thank you so much for watching this. We'll be back with the next episode very soon.